Have you ever wondered if Bitcoin is energy? Or have you heard people talk about that Bitcoin is not normal money, it's actually energy? So that's actually the topic of today, and here the guy Luke Belmar is going to explain that to you, because yeah, he is just really articulate and can explain that really well, even though some people hate him, but a lot of people also love him. And that makes a really good video, and we will jump right into this video, in this interview, where he talks about if Bitcoin is energy or not.
Principle of God will sell you all things at the price of labor led me to the belief, not the belief, because belief entails religion. Or
that the really nice thing about Luke Belmar is that he is really articulate, or at least he tries to use his words really carefully. So he does not just talk about a topic just at random, or like in a way that he has not studied it. And that makes it like a little bit more believable. Of course, some people believe he manipulates people with that, but yeah, at first you gotta be that articulate and convey a message with that, yeah, so concisely.
Or a system that you can't see. It made me realize the power of Bitcoin. Why? Now this is a complete flip, but when God sells you all things at the price of labor, labor represents energy input. So the system, the machine that we talk about, this, if you're born year 200 in the slavery machine, you don't know what being free or using your own autonomous energy to create things for yourself looks like. So now you're in a situation whereby you're using your energy to create things that don't belong to you. So for example, you have this money that's printed out of thin air. There is no energy, right, input that's sustaining the US dollar. How many people, we printed $6 trillion. Who worked, what type of energy was input to print that money? None.
So that's really important right here. Like people, yeah, they just believe in the value of the US dollar. The US dollar is not actually backed up by anything. Like it used to be backed up by gold, but then in the 1970s, Nixon basically unhinged Bitcoin, not Bitcoin, the US dollar from gold, and from then on, like people or the government started to print a lot of money, and yeah, that's basically the system that we have today. And the other thing is, like when he talks about the matrix or like the system, like he just basically says like that's when you have a job, go to work, and then you get paid money. Then you put in energy during the time when you are at work, and yeah, that's basically your energy input, and you get a benefit out of it, and that's actually the salary that you receive for like 1 hour of labor on your term. So let's move on.
But what about the money, right, that was printed through energy? That becomes devalued. The money doesn't become devalued. What becomes devalued? Your energy. Your energy that you've put in dollars as a value of energy now is being slowly trickled and depleted. So what happens? God can't sell you all the things at the cost of labor if you're in the fiat system, because the energy, right, whatever God wants to pay you, is slowly being taxed.
So like what he actually means is that it's like if they print more money, then there is a bigger money supply on the market, and we know that the government like wants to have like 2-3% of inflation, and if the economy goes crazy or if we have a crisis, then we usually have more inflation. And what does that basically mean? Like if your salary stays the same before they increase the money supply, and I don't know, how can I say that? Like if you earn the salary and it's still the same for like 3 years, but the inflation goes on and on and on, and it's like maybe 1 year it's 2%, 1 year it's 3%, another year it's 5%. That basically means that your money, the buying power, is not as much as it used to be. So like the same amount of money that you earned 3 years ago can't buy the same thing today. And that's a really big difference that you gotta understand. And that's what he basically means with that like if you don't get a raise, and usually not a lot of people get the raise that they actually deserve to keep up with inflation, then yeah, your buying power goes eventually down. And then here is the part where Bitcoin comes in,
or slowly being filtered out.
Yeah.
So that led me to, if I'm going to get anything in life at the cost of my life force energy, so I need to take my life, my energy, and materialize it into something. Whatever I materialize it into has to be able to sustain its energy. It has to be able to sustain its. If you pay me $10,000 today for a phone call or a consultation call, and I put it in the bank, today I would be able to redeem that $10,000 for something completely different than what I would be able to redeem that $10,000 in 10 years.
If it was
exactly.
in fiat.
If it was in fiat. So it's not that my money's worth less, it's that my energy's worth less, because my energy can now no longer purchase what it used to. So that led me to believe to find something that requires energy for existence. Bitcoin requires literal physical energy input for existence.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and that's the power basically also of Bitcoin. Like if you want to get Bitcoin, then you have to mine it at first, and that takes a lot of energy. That's actually the reason why a lot of people think, yeah, Bitcoin is so controversial and stuff, because it uses up that much energy. But what they don't understand is like that Bitcoin basically stores its energy in itself, and that it basically can hold, like if you earn money on your job, then you put energy in your job and then you get compensated. But as we have already learned over time, if you get that money in a fiat currency, then your energy is not worth as much in the future because the dollar is not backed by anything. But now you have Bitcoin and it's backed by energy because you had to use energy to get the Bitcoin. Then it's backed by something. And if you now put your fiat money or convert it into Bitcoin, then it maintains its energy level. And that's also one of the powers of Bitcoin. So it is not as much affected or at all from inflation.
So what you're buying from Bitcoin, you're not buying Bitcoin. What you're buying is a immutable storage of perfect energy.
Right. I love that. And
yeah, now he's basically done with his point, but Belmar articulated it way better at the end than I did. But I'm really interested what you think about this whole topic, because it's really important, and some people are not aware of it, that if they just save the money, which is actually good, that the buying power in the future is not as high as it is right now due to inflation. And that's the reason why so many people are hyped up about Bitcoin, because it's a good way to store their energy, like to maintain their buying power in the future, or even increase it, because like there are not a lot of things or assets that are way better than Bitcoin to store your energy in. Like if you invest in the stock market, stock market is basically going exactly on the same level up like inflation, and some other assets actually perform less than inflation. So it's kind of, you gotta put some time into it to understand where you get your best return, or where you can keep up with inflation or even outperform inflation. And that's actually eventually the goal. And Bitcoin has done that over the past, and that's why people are so hyped up about it, to store your energy input for the future. And that's a huge part why people really like Bitcoin. So let me know if you like this video. Leave a sub down below if you kept listening that long. And we will see us in the next video. Bye guys.